Hey guys, welcome to Horror and Me. I'm your host Darren Mitchell. And on today's video, I thought we would do a get to know me type of video. I first want to apologize that I haven't put out any content in about 2 weeks now. I've been super busy with life outside of YouTube. I'll talk a little bit about that today, but I wanted to do a get to know me type of video. A few of my buddies on YouTube have done this before, and I've always thought about doing it. I just never did. And I figure I've been on YouTube now for about a year and a half. I feel like it's time to do it. Some of you guys that do watch my channel do know me personally. A lot of you do not, so that's why I kind of thought it would be good to do this video. So let's just jump right into it. I also put up on Facebook if anyone had any questions for me that I would answer them in this video. So I have a ton of questions that came in today, and I will answer those as well. But let's just start. I guess basically, who am I? My name's Darren Mitchell. I'm 31 years old. I live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Right now, the seasons are really changing. It's getting really cold out. It drops down to under freezing every night now. So if you live in this area of the East Coast, you know what kind of weather we get. So I love Pennsylvania. I've lived here most of my life. I also lived in Detroit, Michigan. I have a few friends that watch my channel that also live in that area for about 7 years. I went to West Bloomfield High School in Ann Arbor. West Bloomfield Hills, but it's like in the Ann Arbor area, Kego Harbor, if you're familiar with that area. And then I moved back when I was like 21 years old, and I've been here ever since. I'm trying to think of some other things you guys might want to know about me. What I do for a living, and I do get asked that quite a bit. I am a social worker for the county of Lancaster. What I specifically do is I work with people with mental disabilities and also physical disabilities, and I train them to get employed competitively. So basically what I do is I have a caseload of like 35 people that I work with daily, and I kind of set goals for them and kind of track their progress and try to get them employed at some point in some capacity. Those of you that know about what's going on in the U.S., specifically Pennsylvania, there's a lot of laws that are changing that are starting to include community participation with a lot of our clients with mental disabilities. So if you start seeing people working at like different jobs like Walmart and stuff like that that might have a mental disability, you're going to start seeing a lot more of that. So that's pretty much what I do for my full-time job. I am also a DP, director of photography, and also a professional video editor. You guys don't see a lot of that on my YouTube channel because I really don't put that much time into my videos as far as editing. I kind of just like to pump them out. But I do that professionally as well. And there was some questions that came in through Facebook that I will answer regarding those types of things. What else? I'm married. A lot of you guys know my wife, Beth. We've been married going on 4 years. We've been together for 11. I have 3 dogs, Jack, Lucy, and Bruno, and I also have 3 cats, Puff, Marley, and Oreo. Oreo is our new one that we took in recently. If you've been following me on social media, was kind of eating out of our trash can, and we decided to take him in, and he's getting along great with the other animals, so we're happy about that. What else do you guys need to know? Obviously, if you follow my channel, you know I'm obsessed with horror. It's pretty much all I think about outside of my jobs and my wife and stuff like that. Horror movies are my passion. Horror collecting is my passion. I tend to watch a movie, at least one movie every day. Horror film. It's something I've been doing for years. I tend to think I know a lot about horror movies. I feel like I do. But that's one of my strong points and things I can talk about. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of something else you guys might want to know. My father passed away last year. We weren't very close. We kind of didn't see eye to eye most of my life. When I lived in Detroit, I lived with him. But he had passed, and one thing that I do regret is not reaching out to him more and kind of like telling him more about my life, stuff like that. We rubbed elbows sometimes, but we didn't rub elbows enough that a father and son should. So that's one of the things I do regret before his passing. My mom is still around. She has my brother. Some of you guys know my brother has a traumatic brain injury. He was in a car accident in 2009. He was a great dude. my brother. He was my best friend. He's 2 years younger than me. And he made a stupid decision, went drinking and driving one night, and he hit a tree, and he was in a coma for 4 months, and he hasn't been the same since. He is still in a wheelchair. He has short-term memory loss, so he doesn't retain any new information, which makes it tough, but it's kind of crazy. He remembers everything before the accident, and he's slowly, over the last few years, been using other parts of his brain to gain new memory. So it's kind of impressive how the brain works, that you can't regenerate cells, or brain cells, but you can start using other parts of your brain to kind of take over for the parts that were damaged. So that's really interesting to me. Still love him to death. We see each other all the time. He still has a sense of humor, which is awesome, but he is a little slow. Maybe one day I'll do a video and you guys can get to know my brother Justin. But so I have that going on. Trying to think of anything else before we get into questions you guys might want to know. Yeah, I'm not sure. So let's just get down to it and let's read some questions. There was a lot of good ones that came in, so I'm gonna kind of be all over the place with these. Okay, shout out to Kurt DeBauer, a buddy of mine. He said, don't forget to mention that I'm the next Charles Manson. I made a joke. Everyone knows that Charles Manson passed away. And I was saying that I was sad that Charles Manson passed away or whatever. But what I do like about Charles Manson is I'm really into like studying up on serial killers and stuff like that. It's just something I'm passionate about, being from a mental health field. Something about a serial killer and a socio-psychopath is interesting to me. I watch a lot of documentaries on stuff like that. And basically what I was saying was that Charles Manson was kind of the last of that genre of serial killer. Pretty much all the serial killers that are out now, they tend to like shoot people. There is like a lack of creativity with that sort of thing. So with Charles Manson's passing, he kind of, when he died, he also, like, that genre of serial killer also died. So with that being said, that's kind of where I'm at with that. So I wanted to bring that up. Let's see. Craig McLaughlin, Uncaped Crusaders asked, what is the airspeed of an unladen swallow? And that's a funny thing from Monty Python, the Holy Grail. So I responded, is it an African swallow? So that's nice. John, I forget how to say John's last name. That's French, but it's like John Lecrux, I think. What was the very first horror memorabilia you remember buying, and what made you decide to start collecting, and when? Meaning, how old were you, and or what year? So I have been a serious collector since 2008. I've always been fascinated with horror. There's something about being scared when I was younger that really captivated me when I would watch a scary movie, and I am always looking for that next scare. It's something that intrigues me. It's been a long time since I've actually been legitimately scared watching a movie, but I'm always chasing that scare. Like, I want to find that film that's going to do that to me. So I've been collecting since 2008 seriously. The collection has grown quite a bit. I will do an updated room tour video at some point. But yes, I've been collecting since then. I'm trying to think of my first piece that I bought. I used to have a lot of posters, nothing special, but I remember like when I was like 12, 13, I had a ton of posters up in my room. I had an Evil Dead poster. You guys know Evil Dead's my favorite ever. So I had stuff like that, and obviously collecting movies and that sort of thing. As I got older and had my own money, I started to buy stuff. Some things I do regret, though, is going back in time. I wish when I was like 17, 18, when a lot of figures that I'm collecting now, I wish I would have purchased them then. Stuff that was super cheap at the time, and now they go for hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the secondhand market. So that's something I wish I would have done and would have looked at it more seriously back then, but you live and you learn. So let's see. Give your top 4 horror movies for 2017. One movie that came out in 2017 that's great, but no one is talking about. Top movies for 2017 for me would be, I'll be honest with you, there's just not a lot. I haven't really been impressed with a horror movie that came out this year, or the last few years, to be honest. I really liked it. I know a lot of people said I hate it and this and that, but I did like it. It just wasn't the original for me. Tim Curry is just Pennywise to me. But I do like how Bill Skarsgård portrayed it in a different light. So I would say it. I really like The Void. That's probably the one I would choose that not a lot of people talk about. What else was good? 2017. Was Don't Breathe 2017? I like Don't Breathe and Lights Out. Not a lot of people like those movies, but I remember Lights Out when it was a short on YouTube, and it was a really good short film. And I like the fact that a YouTube video got some money pumped into it and ended up being a feature film. So Lights Out was cool. Is it Get Out? I'm not sure. Honestly, guys, there hasn't been a lot in 2017 that I've really enjoyed. So, yeah, that's what that. Ben Green says, what was the first film, image, event that got you into horror? I talked about this before. One of my fondest memories is watching it as a child. That's why I love it so much today. It was kind of the first film that I saw and really watched. I think I was like 9, 10, 11 years old, something in that area. And I remember really, really liking it. I really liked the scares in that movie. And I really liked Pennywise, or Tim Curry. I've always been a fan of Tim Curry. I loved him in Clue. I loved him in Rocky Horror Picture Show. And the portrayal of Pennywise is still one of the greatest performances, in my opinion. So that would be one of the first things that kind of captivated me to be a horror fan. David, one of my Cheetos, he intersected the slime. He asked what my favorite sex position is. That's of course reverse cowgirl. Best position ever. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that for this channel. Also, another thing I didn't bring up. Some of you guys do know about our show that we do on the weekends. I am a part of another channel called Hot Cheetos and Blood. It's me and 3 other guys, and it is an R-rated channel. So if you're not looking for that kind of content, don't watch. But if you do want to see a different side of me and some of our other friends that you might know on YouTube, just go to Hot Cheetos and Blood and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think you'd really enjoy it. Every week we review a film, and then we ask questions and we do chat participation, stuff like that. It gets pretty crazy sometimes, so I definitely recommend that. Sorry, my dogs are crazy. Let's see. What was your favorite look of Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, and Leatherface? Not the movie, but the actual look of the character from the movie. He says his would be Rob Zombie's Halloween, the first Halloween. He likes Friday the 13th from 2009 and Gunnar Hansen from the original 3D. And this came from Harold Melvin. I would say my favorite Michael Myers look is from Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2. There's something about that mask. It's very iconic. It's when you see images of Michael Myers, most of the time it's him in that mask. When the films progressed from there, the face started to get a little wider and a little wonkier looking, but the classic to me is the H2 Halloween mask. As far as Jason Voorhees, my favorite Friday the 13th film is Part 3, but I would say my favorite mask is Part 7. I love the crack in the mask and kind of the missing jaw piece down here. There's something about that I really, really like. Let's see. Favorite Leatherface, I would also say my favorite Texas Chainsaw Mask would be from Part 2. I really like the Pretty Lady mask, and also just his normal like junked up like stitched together mask. I really like that. I think that was it for that question. Okay, so Nicole Cox asks, what is one thing in your collection that you would never sell? I really would probably never sell anything. I know at times I've said I'd sell stuff, but at least right now, I don't think I'd ever sell my Alien Sideshow statues. I just love them so much. They're awesome. Sorry about my dogs. Let's see. Randy, my friend Randy asks, has becoming a public horror figure on YouTube been a positive, or do you regret it in any way? I would say coming on YouTube has been great for me. I really love talking about my passion for collectibles and horror, as you guys know. Do I regret anything along the way? The only thing I would say I regret is, as it would be in any environment where there's a lot of people kind of watching and hearing each other, is there's always going to be some bad apples. There's always going to be people that are going to hate on you, and I've experienced a lot of that, as some of you know. My biggest thing is, as far as like things I regret, is I regret kind of getting to know some of those people because I thought they were my friends and they ended up not being. So again, that's kind of something with anything that you do. There's always going to be someone that you just don't get along with, and that happens all the time. So that's the one thing I regret, but I don't regret making a channel and meeting people, because I met some of my best friends in the whole world through YouTube. So I definitely recommend making a channel if it's something that you're interested in and you want to talk about something that you love. Definitely do it. Let's see. If you didn't collect horror things, what would you be collecting instead? I also collect coins. I know that's kind of nerdy, but I have a pretty decent coin collection. At one point, it was so good that I had multiple gold coins from all over the world, Spanish reals, stuff like that. I metal detect too. That's something you guys don't know about me. Super into history. And metal detecting just kind of fits the bill for that, because it's kind of history and you're kind of finding stuff. That was from Josh Ridden. Josh also asked, if you have a PS4, what's your gamer tag? I do not have PS4. I have Xbox. What do I want for Christmas? For Christmas, I would like... Let me see here. For Christmas, honestly, I would like more distinctive dummies. I'm really on a distinctive dummy kick. I'm friends with the owner, and I'm buying a lot of his newer stuff coming out, but there's a lot that have been released from the past few years that I really, really like, that I'd like to get. What's your top 5 favorite cartoons when you were a kid? I really love The Addams Family, All Real Monsters, Beetlejuice. What else did I love? Cartoons. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What else did I really like? 5. I'm not sure. I'll come back to that one. I'm trying to think of a 5th one. Josh Ridden also asked, how many beers do I drink on a daily average? I don't actually drink every day. I know sometimes you guys see me drinking, but I always usually have a beer on my Saturday shows. It depends on the day, really. Like today, I have pretty much a free night, so I'm going to have a beer. Wow, my dog is being super annoying right now. So yeah, I mean, like when I do my show, I usually have like 4 or 5 beers on Saturdays, because we do it for a few hours. But no more than that, pretty much. You had to be naked in the middle of a human sandwich and 2 other naked guys. Who would you pick? And Laura, my friend Laura, says Bruce Campbell and ? Of course it'd be Bruce Campbell. I'm trying to think of the other naked guy that I would want next to me. Oh, man. Bruce Campbell and... I don't know. There's something intriguing about Michael Myers. I think it'd be cool to have Michael Myers. I actually asked a question similar to that to one of the Cheetos over the weekend. So I would say Bruce Campbell and Michael Myers. That'd be cool. Not cool in a sexual way, but you know what I mean. Josh asked, do I collect anything else? Again, I collect coins. I also collect Sega Genesis games and some other retro games, but mainly Sega Genesis in box. Talk about an encounter you've had with a crazy weird horror fan from Facebook or YouTube. I know you've had at least one. Nothing too crazy. I've met a bunch of people from Facebook and YouTube at different conventions and stuff like that. I would say the weirdest stuff, and I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but is I get a lot of weird messages from people. I get messages a lot, but sometimes they're a little racy, or they're very forward, like kind of just asking personal questions about me and stuff like that. If I don't put it online, that means I probably don't want somebody to know. But I get asked a lot about mental health stuff, because you guys know I also have bipolar. So I don't mind stuff like that. I don't mind talking about that kind of stuff. But there's been times when people have asked me about, like, me and Beth having sex, and what do we like to do, and just weird off the wall stuff like that. So stuff like that, it's weird to me. My buddy Jeff Soares says, what types of music inspired you to learn music and perform? Do I still play guitar? And last question, what type of guitar do I have? What inspired me to play music was Sublime. To be honest with you, I loved Sublime growing up. It was one of my favorite bands, still is. But I really like that reggae type of style. It's just something I really, really like. I've been in multiple bands over the years. I've been in electronic bands. I was even in a folk hardcore band that we did pretty well. We actually toured a few times. We played Cornerstone in Chicago, the music festival as well. And then for a while I did my own singer-songwriter stuff. Maybe sometime I'll put up some stuff on Facebook and you guys can hear it. The guitars I've had at one point like 15 guitars. Right now, I sold most of the stuff because I was buying camera gear a couple years ago, but I still do have a Gibson Les Paul. I had a Gibson Cascade LC1 acoustic. Gibson's kind of my favorite. Yes, they're more expensive, but they're worth the money in my opinion as far as sound. So I still have those guitars, but that's kind of all I've got right now. Alright, so I have a few more questions. This one comes from my buddy Sean. How did you get into video editing as a profession, and did you go to school for it at all? I did not go to school for it. I wanted to go to film school, but I didn't realize that until I was into my 20s. So what I did is, I've always been interested in film. It started at a young age. Me and my brother used to get the VHS camcorder out and film like funny videos, stuff like that. But when I turned 18, I decided to just go for it and start doing short films and acting and stuff like that. So I did a few short films where I was acting in that. And then from there, like because it was such a small production, I started running audio recorders, and then eventually I started doing camera work and stuff like that. And then I just kind of stayed with it. And I've been doing that for going on, I'm 31, 12 years now, almost 13 years. So I started out doing short films. So if you're interested in this sort of thing, I'm going to tell you how I kind of did it. So again, I started out in short films, doing that sort of thing, learning from as many people as I possibly could. Then I started to actually book real work, where I would do like shoot weddings and video edit weddings, that sort of thing, and then doing photography. From there, I started working with a buddy of mine who's a professional sound audio engineer, and we started freelancing together. So we would just book gigs together. Last summer or 2 summers ago, we filmed our first documentary, and we traveled all over the country. I pretty much did that living in a car for about 6 months. And there was a couple years ago, I would say from 2012 to 2015, I solely worked for myself. My income that I made as a freelance director of photography and editor was what was bringing money into our house. So there was many times when me and Beth didn't eat very good, but we did that for a long time, and my wife stuck with me through it because she knew it was my passion and this is what I wanted to do. One day I just decided I'm going to go back to social work, so I did, but I still freelance. Currently I am video editing for actually another YouTube channel. It is an outdoors sports type of channel. They sell products like Marmot, Patagonia jackets, hiking boots, tents, that sort of thing. So that's my current gig that I'm doing now. They pay me to edit for them, and that's pretty much it. From there, and it's kind of been all over the place. I worked on a film called The Harvesting, a horror film. If you haven't seen it, you can find it on Amazon. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've just kind of stuck with it, and I've made a career out of it. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, just don't give up. Start at the smallest places you can. When I started, I was responding to Craigslist ads. need an actor for this, need a camera person or a production assistant, that sort of thing. And that's kind of where you start. That's a progression of things. You just kind of do it. Okay, next question comes from Brian Conrad. He says, your relationship with Jay Stevens, he's from Fright Crate if you don't know, and how did Ciro Resin Cove begin? Jay and myself have been friends since the get-go. It's kind of like how me and Al became friends. It was kind of instantaneous. And I've just been a supporter of Fright Crate since the beginning, before we even really knew each other. And we just always talk. Me and Jay are really close, and we both would just talk about our dreams and things we wanted to do. And it's always been a dream of mine, being a figure collector, to actually own my own company and start producing figures. So one day we just decided, let's just do it. He has resources, I have resources, let's put them together and let's just do it. And it's been great ever since. I think we have a strong following now, and we're getting ready to release our Leprechaun figures, and we have another surprise one we're going to release the beginning of January that we're not telling anybody about, which is pretty exciting. So yeah, it's going well. Hence why I've been working a lot. I've been doing that, plus my video editing job and my full-time job. So I've kind of, YouTube has kind of fallen to the wayside for a little bit, but I'm back, I promise. So yeah, that's how that started. Hannah asks, raw corn versus hot Cheetos. Also, why do you dislike pop figures as much as you do? Raw corn versus hot Cheetos. I don't know. That's a tough one. If you threw sushi in there, sushi would be my go-to, but you guys know that. Why do I dislike pop figures so much? The short answer for this is pop figures to me are a dime a dozen. And you can see that in any store. There's thousands of different ones. How can you even collect them all, first of all? The way it seems to me is that pop figures are the 2000 teens Beanie Babies. They really are. That bubble is going to burst, and they're going to be worth less than $1. It's just going to happen. So I really don't think that people should collect pops, because they're building these massive collections of them, and they're really going to be worthless. I mean, honestly, I really foresee pop figures, unless they do something drastic and change things, they're not going to be worth anything, and they're not going to have any collectible value. If you like certain ones for like the movie they're from or something like that, I do have a few of them that I like. Friends have sent me some of movies they know I like. But other than that, I wouldn't go and buy hundreds of them and have them on my wall. Not only do they take up a lot of space, but just again, they're just kind of a dime a dozen. There's nothing really interesting or special about them. And that's kind of why. Let's see. I have a few more. If you could live the rest of your life in any fictional town, city, world, or universe, doesn't have to be horror, what would you choose? I think I skipped one. Oh, I'm sorry, I did skip one. I'll come back to it. Whoops. Sorry, I frowny-faced one comment by accident. If I could live in any kind of world, what kind of character would I want to be? What lives, universe would I select? What would be my story? If I could be in any universe, I would want to be in, like, outer space. I'm obsessed with aliens and that sort of thing, so I want to be somebody from, like, outer space. I don't even know what I would do. I think I would just travel planet to planet and just kind of learn about the culture. I would be that alien that, like, comes and, like, probes around and, like, figures out, like, what that culture is and then just disappears. That's kind of what I would do. I don't know what universe kind of here. I don't know. I think I would want to look like an alien, to be honest with you. Let's see. What are some of your favorite YouTube channels that aren't horror related? And what YouTube channels did you watch before you started your own channel? This comes from Jamie. Some of my favorite channels that aren't horror related is I watched The Last Gamer. He's a really awesome dude from Australia. He has the Guinness World Records of video games. You have to, if you love video games, check out The Last Gamer. All of his content is amazing. He has such an impressive collection, not only of video games, but of, like, arcade systems. I mean, I don't know what this guy does for a living, but he's crazy and spends a crazy amount of money on it, on his channel and on his collectibles. I thought I was bad. That guy's bad. So he's really cool. The Last Gamer. I also like Sweet Natural Living. It's two brothers from Norway that are fruitarians. I struggle with my diet as far as what I like to eat. For a long time, I was vegan, and then I was a fruitarian, and then I went back to eating meat, and then so I've kind of struggled with that. So I always follow these guys because they give me the push to kind of be better and eat better. But that doesn't always happen. As far as horror YouTubers, when I started my channel, I'll be honest with you, and I hope this doesn't sound pretentious in any way, but when I wanted to start my channel, the reason I did is because there wasn't a lot of quality horror on YouTube. There wasn't a lot of people that collected on the level that I did. And that's why I don't want to sound pretentious in any way. I knew I had something to give to this community, to YouTube, by showcasing my love of action figures and horror in general. And there wasn't really anyone doing it to the extent that I do and have. So I wanted to do that, and that's why I started. But I would say the one person that I did watch prior to starting my channel is the Horror Stash. His collection is amazing. I say better than mine. I don't really know. I've never really seen his entire room tour, but what I have seen is incredible. And he's super underrated on YouTube. That guy has amazing content. He puts out awesome videos. Everything that he shows on his channel is top-notch, high-quality stuff. And obviously, since I started YouTube, I've gained friendships with other people. And that was the thing about YouTube. I finally found other people that were like me, that do have these amazing collections. I have a ton of friends right now that I've met through YouTube that have awesome collections. Collections that are better than mine, collections that are rivaling mine. And I love talking horror and collectibles with these people. So that is kind of where that goes. What is the definition... Scott Ruth asks, what is the definition of horror to you? What makes a movie a horror movie? The definition of horror to me is if it gives you any kind of scare. If it tries to be macabre in any way. I'll just give you an example. I know it's not a film, but Stranger Things, right? That to me is horror. I don't think it's it's supernatural, but if it's macabre in any way, or even the music, it can even be the music that's creepy, that would make it a horror film to me. And the more blood, the better. If there's blood and boobs, that's a horror film. What makes a movie a horror film? Okay, so that pretty much answers that. It looks like I just have one question left. This comes from my friend, buddy Joseph. It says, do you see yourself ever parting with and selling your collectibles and things like that at a convention or something many years down the road? It could be your retirement plan. My wife and I laugh about it all the time because we've since the collection has grown, I do have to catalog this whole room again, in my basement, everything that's in storage for homeowners insurance. The last time I did it was 2013, I think. So it's super out of date. God forbid something happened, but I do have to catalog it again. I think the last time I looked, I think I was only in like 500-600 figures. That wasn't including statues or anything like that. I know I'm up over, I think 1,200-1,300 figures now. Most of them in package. I've gotten a crap load of statues now. There's a lot of value in this room. We laugh about it all the time. When people come over to my house and they see my collection for the first time, they kind of just stand there for a while. They kind of just stand there and they look around. Even myself, I'll come in here and I'll sit down and I'll notice something that I haven't seen in like 2 months. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things where I don't see it as an investment. This is my passion. Yes, I do keep things in package most of the time. Not necessarily to resell, but if it ever did get to that point, I know that I could get top dollar for it. That's kind of why I do it. Plus, I'm just one of those in package. I like my stuff pristine. I like my stuff mint, and that's the only way to do it. So, yeah, that pretty much answers that. Let me just look. It looks like I might have some more questions coming in. Let me see before we close the video. that looks like it's it. So I want to say thanks, guys, for contributing to this video. I hope this gave you guys a little bit more insight about me. If you have any other questions, I can do another follow-up video to this. You can post them in the comments below. If you guys have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do. If you're interested in horror or collectibles in any way, this is definitely the channel for you. So yeah, and if you guys would like to check out my other channel with my friends, Hot Cheetos and Blood, just subscribe to that channel. We do shows every Saturday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I want to say thanks, guys, for tuning in. Again, sorry that I've been delayed with my videos, but I'm back on track now, and I'll start pumping out more content for you guys. So I want to say thank you, and I'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you guys enjoyed this content and would like to see future episodes of Horror in Me, please subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to keep in contact with me to see more of my content, you can check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search Horror in Me. See you guys next time.